Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. Tonight we're following multiple homicide investigations around the state. Early this morning near Patterson Square in Little Rock, police say patrols found a dead person. Officials have not released the name of the victim or any details about the cause of the incident. LRPD did share details of another shooting. Last night, they responded to a shooting in the River Market that injured 3 people. A spokesperson says that all 3 people are now in stable condition. And as we learn more about these events, we'll continue to update our website at thv11.com. Arkansas native and former Dallas Cowboy Reggie Swinton visited the Capitol today to push for more community-focused solutions on lowering crime in Little Rock. THV11's Jay Jackson shares the latest from his rally.
I cannot take any more of seeing my kids or anybody else's kids buried.
A casket sat on the steps of the state capitol Sunday, aimed to represent the harsh reality of violent crimes in Little Rock.
Mothers are scared to go out the house. We need to make a plan on what we're going to do instead of talking. We love our kids. Our kids are the future.
Reggie Swinton organized a rally to search for community solutions. He says the 1,000-man meeting, Us Versus Us, is an opportunity for Black people to address what more can be done to combat crime towards one another.
In 2022, a Black male is murdered by another Black male every 50 minutes in the U.S.
But the call to end city violence also comes from impacted Arkansans of any race.
You know, we need answers too. I understand. We want justice for everybody. No, but everybody, all of us are here because we feel victimized.
Lydiana Sandoval's family has been trying to get justice for her sister Brenda since she died last October after an alleged assault.
We really felt like nobody really listened to us, and we tried to do everything that we could. We even took all this evidence to, the sheriffs, and they still...
Since she passed, they just gave her the autopsy reports about a week ago. Nearly 100% of the homicides in Little Rock are brothers and sisters of the Black faith. And so we're saying right here, not only focusing on one particular race, we focus on the entire race, because when one soul is lost, it hurts the entire souls of the community.
Swinton challenged people there to bring more energy back into their communities.
I want everybody right now, I know it's COVID, I want you to seek out 3 people that you don't know right now and give them a hug, please.
Take back the streets, clean up the areas where they live, and focus on every young person they can.
Now I'm talking to the younger generation. Do something around me, I'm telling. But most important, let's stop the violence.
In Little Rock, Jay Jackson, THV11 News.
Swinton also encouraged parents to try and get their teens a summer job to stay busy. And he also hopes to see more positive male figures playing an active role and come to his future conversations. The mayor is expected to address the recent violence during his State of the City tomorrow night. That's set for 6 p.m. at the Southwest High School Auditorium on Mablevale Pike. We're going to have more from that tomorrow night at 10. And Little Rock's not the only city dealing with crime this weekend. Pine Bluff police are also investigating an overnight homicide. At 11:30 last night, Pine Bluff police say they responded to a shooting on West 26th Avenue. And when police got there, they found a man dead from an apparent gunshot wound. We don't know yet the name of the victim or any possible suspects. This is Pine Bluff's 7th homicide for the year.
So we've had a quiet pattern for your weather for the last several days. Going into the new week, we are going to start to see some changes. But let's break down what we saw for your Sunday today. It was a little bit cooler than yesterday. We were seeing 70s yesterday, in the low 60s for us today here in the metro. But temperatures kind of varied anywhere from the low 50s to upper 70s to our south. So that's a huge range of about 25 to almost 30 degrees there. And as we go into this evening right now, we're still seeing some of the cooler air to our north and east. They're sitting in the 40s there, around 50 here in the metro, and still in the 50s and near 60s to our south. Going into tonight, though, we'll be cooling down into the 40s and the 30s statewide. On average, it's about in the mid 40s for this time of year. But after a little bit of a chilly start tomorrow, we are back to school once again this week after spring break this past week. We'll be warming up to near the upper 60s to near 70 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. So we have some warmer days in store. Quiet weather still in store for tomorrow, but we'll start to see the return of showers and potential storms later this week. So that's what I'll be talking about in your forecast just ahead.
In national headlines, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky continues to request weapons and military equipment to defend against Russia's devastating invasion. President Biden is back at the White House after his trip to Poland, where the final remarks of his Warsaw address took many by surprise. Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
With the war in its second month, Ukraine's leader is renewing his plea for more military equipment to defend against invading Russian forces. President Volodymyr Zelensky called for tanks and planes from NATO, while asking if the West fears Moscow.
We have to give them everything they need to win this war, because we've made it clear we're not going to intervene directly, and I don't think we should at this point.
Since the start of Russia's attack on Ukraine, President Biden has said he doesn't want to escalate tensions out of concern it could spark a more wide-scale conflict. The president returned to the White House after his historic trip to Poland, where the closing remarks of his speech reverberated around the world.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
A White House official quickly walked back the president's statement, saying he was not talking about regime change. While the war presses on, firefighters in western Ukraine's biggest city, Lviv, worked in the aftermath of a Russian attack that set this oil facility on fire. Across Ukraine, thousands take shelter wherever they can, including the subways in the embattled nation's second-largest city, Kharkiv.
The trains are also used as shelters. You can see people are staying overnight inside the trains.
Here in Washington, protesters turned out for a large rally at the Lincoln Memorial to show they stand with Ukraine. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
We continue to make progress in lowering our COVID numbers here in Arkansas. Here's where we stand right now. A little more than 1,400 people are dealing with the virus tonight, and that's slightly up compared to a few days ago, but still lower than what we were seeing at the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, 115 people are fighting the virus from a hospital this weekend. The concerning number that continues to climb are deaths. As of this weekend, more than 11,000 Arkansans have died from COVID-19. And as we continue watching these COVID case numbers, some of them include a new subvariant of Omicron that's starting to spread, and misinformation is spreading with it. That's why Evan Kosloff spoke with the experts to verify what we know about this new strain.
Just when we thought COVID was over, a new subvariant is proving that it's not. It's spreading all over Europe, and we know that you have questions. That's why we verify. So let's break down what's known about the new subvariant BA2 and what's not. Here are our sources: Dr. Amish Adalja, Dr. William Schaffner, and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Let's start with what's known.
It's clear that BA2 is more contagious than BA1. It does not appear that BA2 is more dangerous than BA1.
Our vaccines continue to prevent serious disease. BA2 is not yet the dominant strain in the US. It's out there making its mischief and giving the original Omicron strain a run for its money.
And that's backed up by CDC data. They estimate that nearly 35% of COVID cases last week were BA2. As for those of you who had Omicron, are you protected from severe illness? Our experts say that likely the answer is yes.
There is a lot of cross protection. So if you've been infected with BA1, the chances are you're quite protected against infection with BA2, or at least infection accompanied by severe disease. Infection is difficult. This is a very transmissible virus, so you could get infected even if you were previously infected before. The critical issue is it's unlikely that you'll wind up getting severe disease.
Now, what we don't know.
We don't know how widely it will spread in the United States and whether it will prolong our transition from pandemic to endemic.
And the good news, our experts say that if you're vaccinated and boosted and not immunocompromised, you're actually pretty protected. You can keep those masks off, at least for now. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kosloff.
And here at home, UAPB is competing against schools across the country in a contest for a campus renovation. And many of you have already pitched in to help online. Just over the weekend, UAPB has moved from the number 8 spot to the number 7 spot. Little Rock HBCU Philander Smith College is also in the contest, sitting in 17th place. And there are still a few hours left in the competition. They've actually pushed the deadline back until tomorrow night. And we have the link to vote up on our website and in our mobile app if you're interested. And it was the video that grabbed everyone's attention, a pickup truck picked up by a tornado. After the break, meet the teen who was inside and the gift he received after this intense moment.
Oh yeah, an incredible moment for sure. I know you're wondering, when are we going to be seeing changes in our forecasts? I know we've been mentioning the potential for some showers and storms later this week. How severe can we expect them to be? Well, I'll explain in the forecast coming up.